Hey guys, Jeff here with Passive Income Unlocked, and this is the October 2021 income report. Like previous income reports, I'm going to start out by going over some of the things we worked on in October, and then I will jump into the details. If you want the short version, we made $41,229. I think our expenses were around $10,000. We actually spent money on different things in the previous month, so I'll jump into the details of that later. Our net profit was around $31,000. So this was our biggest month yet as far as gross revenue, just slightly higher in September. So before I get into it here, just the usual disclaimer. None of the numbers you see on this income report or here on this income report relate to PassiveIncomeUnlocked.com or the YouTube channel. So if you want to follow along, I'll put a description link below. I am looking at the written version right now over at PassiveIncomeUnlocked.com. So as far as some of the things that we worked on in October, like previous months, we went in with a plan, and then we worked on things that were completely off our radar. So that's happened the last few months for whatever reason. The first big one was we switched our theme. So we switched over to a theme called Trellis from Mediavine, which is our ad network. So basically our thought process there is if your ad network releases their own theme, they're probably optimizing it to run their ads. So you should probably test it out and see if it benefits you. So that's what we did. I mean, actually, if you go over there and look at the sales page for Trellis, it will tell you that most of their online publishers do see an increase in RPMs once switching over to Trellis. And we saw the same thing. So we switched over one site at a time, did a 1 week test with each site, compared the RPMs in relation to our other sites just to see what the difference was and to see if that difference closed. And what we ended up seeing was with each 1 week test, we immediately saw about a $5 RPM increase per site. So a $5 RPM increase is huge, obviously. So at the end of the day, after testing the first 3 sites, we said, okay, let's just buy the five site annual license and move forward. So that's what we did. If you're not with Mediavine, probably wouldn't recommend switching. It is, I think, $150 per year per site. So it's pretty expensive. And it's still in beta as well. I mean, we had some technical issues immediately when we moved over with our first 2 sites. Mediavine support's great, though, and they fixed that right away. But if you are with Mediavine, I definitely recommend testing it out. Just do the $15 per month test and just switch it over. See if you see an increase or not. If not, you can always switch back. I do recommend increasing your font size when you test it. We tested before and after changing with font size, and for whatever reason, we saw a better increase upping the font size with Mediavine's Trellis than we did with Contentberg, and we're not quite sure why, but we'll take it. So the next thing that we did in October was we moved site number 5 over to Ezoic. This is something that I had said in the past that we weren't going to do. And the reason that we actually did it is we signed up for Ezoic for PassiveIncomeUnlocked.com. So we figured let's try to get some ads on this site because PassiveIncomeUnlocked.com isn't going to hit 50,000 sessions for a very long time, if ever. So we said, okay, let's just sign up, get some ads on that site. And you have to get on Ezoic's platform now, you have to watch a bunch of videos and take a test and all that stuff. So we did that. And we're like, if we're going to go through all this trouble, we might as well add Ezoic ads to site number 5 as well. And ironically, PassiveIncomeUnlocked.com has already been denied twice, so we can't get ads on that site. But it did get, or site number 5 got approved right away, so we've got ads there. So I guess it's more important because we probably wouldn't make hardly anything with PassiveIncomeUnlocked.com anyways at this point. But I think we made $65 in the month of October from Ezoic for site number 5. The RPM started out around $6, and then they climbed up. I think one day it even hit $20. So it's only been 1 week, and with Ezoic, they do AI optimization. Takes a little bit of time, so we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. But we're pretty happy with what we're seeing so far. The third big thing that we saw that we worked on, I should say, in October was we launched a new site. Now, when I say launched, all I mean is we bought the domain name, purchased the hosting, set up the pages and the categories, things like that. We don't have any content on the site yet. We'll start posting content in November. But basically, we decided to launch a site as a case study. I'm not going to dive into the details here. If you want to learn more about that, I'll post a description and the link below. I did record a separate video for this just recently, and we will be posting updates, probably monthly updates as far as the progress goes on this site. Completely different strategy than what we do or what we've been doing on our other sites, so definitely check that out if you're interested. All right, so next, let's just jump into some of the numbers. So as far as the number of sites, I'll bring up a graph, or a screenshot, I should say, on the screen here for you. Got 5 sites total. Again, we have a 6th site now, but there's no content on it, so that'll probably be on the screen here next month. The age of the sites in front of you there. and the number of posts as well. I've been posting 4 articles per site per week on sites 1 through 4. Site number 5, plan that I mentioned last month was to double down, post 2 posts per day on that site for about 30 days and scale back to 1 post per day. In reality, we posted 2 posts per day for about 15 days, then scaled back to 1 post per day. That was simply because we weren't really accounting for the turnaround times of the writing services. So we started posting 2 posts per day before we had the orders out there, so we ran out of content. So we scaled a little bit back, but at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal. So the point really is to just kind of ramp up the production on that site, and we're still doing that. So next, let's talk about traffic. So I'll bring up a screenshot here of our traffic month to month. As you can see, going from September to October, it was pretty flat. Traffic did drop a little bit. If you look at the orange part of the graph there, of the bar there, you'll see that that is site number 1. That site always grows significantly in traffic in the 4th quarter. I think it had 422,000 page views in October. That made up for the drop in sites number 2, 3, and My Backyard Life. Site number 5 grew another 20%. But it's still nowhere near where we want it to be. And again, watch the case study video. I'll kind of go over the strategy of that site as well, and you'll see why we don't think that site's growing quite as quickly as we'd like it to be. But at the end of the day, we still think it's doing well, and it's going to succeed. All right, so next I'm going to bring up a screenshot for income. Excuse me. All right, so income, $41,228.82. Highest month yet, as I mentioned earlier, just slightly over September. Mostly due to RPM increase from switching to Trellis. Traffic stayed somewhat steady as well. It just all kind of balanced out there going from September to October. Next couple of months, we're hoping to see a pretty big increase because the RPMs will go up quite a bit probably for November, December. But we're going to have to kind of wait and see how that balances out with our traffic going down. Last year, I know that we increased significantly in revenue from October to November to December. But we will see what happens. You never know year to year if it's going to be the same thing or not. But we do expect to make more money in November, December as the RPMs go up. As far as RPMs, by the way, in the month of October, across our 4 sites, they ranged from roughly $38 to $45. So that was the range that we saw for the month of October. So the next screenshot I'll bring up here is from Mediavine. And this is our ad revenue. That's the bulk of our money there. As you'll see with site number 1, making almost $15,000 on its own, huge increase over previous months, and that's just going to keep growing. That's really the one that carries the weight in the winter, whereas the other sites carry the weight in the warmer months. All right, as I mentioned already, we did make $65 from Ezoic. That's not going to be up on the screen there for you. Next screenshot I'll show you here is from Amazon Associates. This is just a US, $1,143. We also made about $161 from the UK and Canada, which isn't shown as well. Aside from that, only other revenue was about $86 from print on demand. All right, so for expenses. So in the month of October, our expenses were $9,947. And like I said last month, basically what we're trying to do here is kind of stay under the $10,000 or around the $10,000 mark for right now, because the revenue is pretty high, so we can afford to do that. Unlike last month, instead of spending that money on site number 5, we actually spent that site on the case study, so site number 6. So the vast majority of the money that you see on the expense side here is tied to writing services, $4,000 for passion posts, $5,000 for texted, and that was 2 different orders, one at the beginning of the month, one at the end of the month. And then there's also a chunk there for Mediavine Trellis, $362. That was the 5-site license after discount. So total expense of $9,947, like I said. So for our net profit, revenue was $41,228.82 minus $9,947.42 gives us a net profit of $31,281.40 for the month of October. Super happy with that, obviously. Last thing I will go over here, future plans and goals. This one's be quick and easy. We have nothing special planned for the rest of the year, just to kind of ride out our sites, just keep posting content. So sites 1 through 4, 4 posts per site per week. Excuse me. Site number 5, we're going to try to keep posting 1 post per day for the rest of the year at least, if not longer. And then site number 6, we're going to do 3 batches of 50 posts per month. And again, you can pick up the details there in the case study video. but we should get that first order back in November. And we're going to post that in batches and instead of scheduling out like we typically do. So that's really all we have planned for the rest of the year. RPMs always go up in the fourth quarter. We had RPMs about $38 to $45 in October, so we're really excited to see what happens in November, December. Our goal at the very, very beginning of the year, before we were making even close to these numbers, was to hit 50,000 by the end of the year. I think last December, November, December, I want to say we made 28,000 in November and then 35 in December. I think those were the numbers that we hit. So going into this year, we were hoping to hit 50,000 in either November or December. That was kind of our goal, our high goal that we're reaching for. And honestly, it looks pretty realistic at this point. We think we can hit it possibly even in November. So, but whatever the case, Q4 is the best time of the year for online publishers. So we're excited to see it, to see what happens, and you guys probably are as well. It's really all I had for this one, guys. So I will catch you in the next one.